Okay, so you've taken a little time. You saw what's happening in your district, in your CISA. Depending on how much information has already been put into the survey, you may have seen different places around the state. And I asked you why you think I had you take a look at that. Why am I asking you this information? And then you looked at a brand new resource from the Council of Chief State School Officers regarding the marginalization of social studies at the elementary level. And we know that this is happening in other subject areas too, like science. It's happening in science as well. But it's a question of, I mean, I'm the social studies person, that's what I geek out on, so social studies is what we look at with this. And I just wanted to let you guys know, this is something that is happening across the state, across the country. It is documented, it's analyzed, it's been researched. It's happening all over the place. It is not only in your district. So please don't sit there and think, oh my gosh, Chris is yelling at me because we're not doing social studies as much as maybe we should. That's not it. My goal is to help us increase the quality and quantity of social studies that our students are getting. So some of the information I have for you today, some of it is like Chris is on her soapbox about elementary social studies. And this is because I just want to help. I just want to make it better for our students. So I'm going to share again. Here we go in. We really are in a state of national crisis in elementary social studies. This is actually a statement from the Civic Mission for Schools. They are the ones that use the term national crisis. And it is affecting the civic health of our country. The reason for this is not because K-5 you learn a ton of information. It's because it's that foundational work. And so when you have this loss of time, kids aren't learning what it means to be a responsible citizen. Little c, you know, citizen in its broadest sense. Looking at civic engagement and how do you get involved in your community? How do you learn what our government is about and what it stands for, what our economy is about and how our economy works? How do students learn all that? And if we continue losing this social studies time, that could lead to greater issues in the future. There are some educational researchers in the field of social studies education who have stated that the loss of civics time has led to this huge partisanship that we see in our state and national government. I will find that research and I'll post it in the area below. Some of that was also said kind of off the cuff, but I'll find that information for you. It's really important. And with this, what this means is, if you're telling me that, now these numbers come from some discussions from elementary teachers over the last couple of years. So if you, in your calendar for K-5, you only have 15 minutes 3 times a week. So you have social studies, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's 15 minutes, and that's all you have. Then that means that there's no time. We don't have time to make social studies about food. These are the 5 F's: food, fashion, famous people, festivals, and flags. We don't have time for that. In a quality social studies program, it has to be more. That means that we don't have time for the heroes and holidays. That means making hand turkeys and say that that's social studies, or making the feather headbands and saying that's social studies. Having students make sugar cube pyramids. One of my personal favorites, the apple unit, which this is not picking on the apple unit. It's just an example that has been given to me over the years, that people try to do interdisciplinary units, and sometimes it's not really strong connections. And so we're going to talk about apples, and that means that we'll be able to do the science. We can plant an apple seed and the plant will grow, and then we can count how many apples there are in this picture, and we can talk all about all of this kind of stuff. We can read stories. We can read about Johnny Appleseed. Oh, but how does this mix with social studies? Because Johnny Appleseed is not social studies. What are we going to do? Well, we can dress up like pioneers and we can make apple butter. And that's our social studies. I got news for you guys. That's not social studies. Baking things, that's not social studies. I know this is all stuff what I hear all the time, but kids love it. Yeah, the kids love it. We love making stuff with our hands, and we love baking things, and we love pulling all that together. But if all you have is 15 minutes 3 times a week, and this is the only time that you can do social studies, then it has to be different. It has to be good social studies in that time that you do have, preferably tied to what you're doing in literacy at the time, because then it makes it easier for kids, right? So as you can see, I get kind of worked up on this, but we just don't have time for this anymore. You, as elementary educators, have one of the hardest jobs in regards to these new standards, because they are different, they are harder, they are foundational. We have a K-12 progression for the first time ever in Wisconsin social studies. And that means that if those standards are not met at the K2 and 3-5 level, then 6-8 can't add on to it. 9-12 can't add on to it. You have the foundation. You know you do. You have it in every subject area. That's why elementary teachers are awesome, because you do it all. And God's help me, I don't know how you do it all. But this is vitally important, to look at what your social studies message is, how you are putting this forward, and look at these new standards to see what you can do to improve the time that you have. So here's me, I'm going to step off my soapbox. I'll be back in a little bit with something else. But I want to give you a little bit of time after this to just kind of reflect and think and talk with some partners about where you're at and where you think you need to go. I'll stop the share on that. But thank you so much for what you do. And we have some tough work ahead of us, but I'm going to do everything I can to help you with it. So there we go. Take a couple minutes, talk with a partner, and then if my timing worked out right, you should be ready for a break, but maybe not. Listen to the CISA people.